Alright guys and girls, welcome to another episode of Astral Auto Repairs. Can you dig it? Alright guys, check it out. A few of you already know what this is. Remember that Kia Sportage that we checked out? Got a blown head gasket. So, in the following series, what we're going to be doing is replacing the head gaskets. For all you who don't know, this is the 2006 Kia Sportage EX. Alright guys, here we go. Coming up on Astral Auto Repairs. This channel is a member of the Astral Stars, which means we have a zero-tolerance policy against the harassment of others. Anybody who violates that policy will be banned. For further information, please visit www.theastralstars.com. Alright guys, the first thing we're going to do, we're on the passenger side. What you're going to do is jack the vehicle up, get it up on a jack stand, just like that. Leave our hydraulic jack there. But we're going to be taking our hydraulic jack out of there. And the first thing you're going to do is we're going to remove this tire right here. Your tire is held on by 5 19mm or 3/4 inch lugs. I'm sorry. Forget that. Dang it. 21mm. Alright, 21mm or 13/16. Preferably use the 21mm. Deep impact. 1/2 inch drive. Alright, let's get that off. Alright, let's get all of them off. Get this tire off and we'll be right back. Alright guys, the next thing we're going to do is while we're down here, you got your harmonic balancer right here. You see that bolt right there? That bolt's going to have to come off eventually, so why not do it now? That's a 22mm bolt, so we're going to use a 22mm, a 1/2 inch drive socket with my air gun here. Take that off just like that. Alright, we'll be right back. Alright guys, the next thing we're going to do, we're going to need to drain our oil because we're going to be doing an oil change and drain our antifreeze. So get your oil drain plug pan here. Gotta take this cap off. Fill up. And what you're going to need is a 17mm, bam, right there. 3/8 drive socket with a 3/8 drive ratchet. And your bolt is located right here at the end of the oil pan. Alright, so let's get that. Set our pan up under there. Let's see what comes out of here anyway. Okay, we're going to let that drain, and while that's draining, we're going to drain our antifreeze. And I'll show you how to do that in 1 second. Be right back. Alright guys, the next thing we're going to do is drain the antifreeze. Get your antifreeze container, pan. Now, you're going to get you a pair of pliers. And if you look straight up here, first you're going to see a little hole.
No, I got to find you again.
Right here. Let me go.
Okay. I'm there.
First you're going to see that little hole.
Excuse me, Harley.
A little hole.
Hold on. Okay.
That's where the antifreeze is going to drain out of.
Okay.
Now further up, you're going to see a little butterfly valve.
Yeah.
See that?
Yep.
So what you're going to do is take your pliers and you're going to turn that loose and you're going to keep going until antifreeze comes out of it. And when you get it loose enough by the pliers...
Shouldn't the pan be under it?
Yeah, we're going to have you move out the way.
Oh.
When you get it loose by that, then you can reach your hand up there and turn it by hand. So let me get this camera out the way. Get our pan up under here. Now this thing, when we checked it, this thing didn't have no antifreeze in it, in at least the top, but it might be still some inside. So let's see here. Wow, I got this thing loosened and nothing coming out. Holy cow. Yeah. Is that an antifreeze or that water?
That looks like water. That's dirty water. Got a little, maybe a little greenish. I would say it's about 80% water.
Huh. So I'm wondering, guys, because we was in the video, we was wondering why this car overheated. Now, this is the indication. Did this car have a leak and they was constantly putting water in it? We don't know yet. We don't know yet. So we're going to definitely find that out. But this thing has definitely got a lot of water in it. All right, while we're doing that, we're going to put our plug back into our oil pan. And we're going to tighten that up and let that drain. The antifreeze, whatever, the water antifreeze, I don't know. And then we'll be right back. Alright guys, the next thing we're going to do is disconnect the negative terminal on the battery. So you're going to need a 10mm wrench, and it's right here. Okay, you're going to loosen up the 10mm nut. You need light.
Nope, I burned it.
Okay, twist it.
Sorry.
Okay, twist it, take it off, tuck it down to the side to make sure it does not come back in contact with that post, or you're going to short something out doing this job. So you want to make sure you really tuck that to the side. All right, we'll be right back. All right, guys, the next thing we're going to do is take off our air cleaner. It looks like, now these tabs right here are supposed to be locked up like that. Somebody must have took them down for whatever reason. I have no idea. Oh yeah, the customer did say he tried to spray it with starting fluid, didn't he? All right, so you're supposed to pop those off like that. 1, 2, 3, and there's going to be 4. All right, the next thing you do, here's our mass airflow sensor. These connectors are very easy to disconnect. It's got a little spring, little action right there, little wire right there. That's all you're going to do is squeeze that in to the connector, just like that. Unplug it. Now over here, it's got a little tab on it that's held in. So what you want to do is get you a pair of needle nose. You want to squeeze those in like that. Pop that out, bring it to the side. Keep your needle nose, because the next thing you're going to do is over here, you're going to have this little vacuum hose right here. So what you want to do is take the needle nose, squeeze that clamp, and bring that clamp back. Okay. Reach in there, twist that hose back and forth, and unplug it. And if you're having a hard time, if it's really stuck, you might have to get a pair of pliers. There we go. Pull it right off, put that down to the side. The next thing you're going to do, guys, is get you a 10mm socket, 1/4 inch drive, and definitely get you an impact wrench. These are nut drives right here. These things are great. So we'll go in there and you're going to loosen up that clamp right there. Okay. Pop that off. You're going to take this whole thing out of there. Now, guys, when we come back, I'm going to teach you about the party line. We'll be right back. All right, guys, the party line. Now, what the party line is, every time you take off a part, you start a line. You start putting the parts in line. So this is the first part. The next part may be that. It's not the speaker, of course, but it must maybe that. So you keep on going down the line. So when you're ready to put this job back together, you just start from this end of the line and work your way back. This, guys, is a very important part of doing a big job like this, because you can leave this car down for weeks and still know exactly how to put this together if you follow this method. And again, it's called the party line. Dig it. All right, let's get that out of the way because that's not belonging there. All right, let's get back to it. We'll be right back. All right, guys, we're going to take off the intake manifold. Now, the intake manifold can come off in 2 sections. You got one section right here, and then you got the section with the throttle body. Don't worry about this yet. We're going to get right to it. But the first thing we'll do, a good way of doing this, guys, is start from one end of the engine, where you're starting on this side or where you're starting on that side, and everything that's connected to what you got to take off, disconnect it, and just start walking your way around. All right, enough of talk. Let's get right to it. First, we got this big breather hose right here. Pop it out of its clamp. That's supposed to be down there. Pop it out of its clamp. Then we look at this valve right here. Let's disconnect the hose right here. So we're just going to pull that hose right off. Come around. You got two connectors right here. You're going to push a tab in on this side. So you're going to squeeze that tab in towards the connector. Unplug it. Same thing with this one, but this one's on this side. Squeeze that tab into the connector and unplug it. Put it down. Now what we got is this whole thing right here. The whole valve is going to come with this intake right here. Let's walk ourselves around. We got bolts right here. We're not going to worry about those bolts yet. But we got a connector here. Now we can either pop it out of here, or we can take our 10mm deep 1/4" drive. And guys, definitely go to Harbor Freight, guys. Definitely go to Harbor Freight. Let's go over here for 1 second. I need you guys to get you called a security bit set. These things are $9 and change, and when it's on sale, it's $5.99. Definitely get you a set like that. As you can see, there's a connector in here, adapter in here, to hook onto your impact driver, and you can use 1/4" drive sockets. All right, so let's get back over here. So we got two 10mm bolts right here that's holding this cable on. So we're gonna get our 10mm deep and pop those out, move it to the side, and then just so we don't lose the bolts, we're gonna put them back in there. All right, let's get that one done, and we'll be right back. Go. All right, guys, we're ready. Got the bolts in there. Now we're gonna follow going around, and we got a connector right here. So we're gonna push this tab down to the connector and unplug that one. Then we got one right here, that same spring action connector. Push that spring towards the connector, unplug it down to the side. That is great, looking good, guys. Now let's get ready to get our intake, this thing up out of here. We got one right there. All right, guys, over here there is there's a 12mm bolt, and on this side up here there is a 12mm nut. So what I'm going to do here is grab my big bill with a 12mm deep 3/8 drive socket, and I'm gonna go over here and disconnect this one first. Now the one on the top you're not gonna be able to get like that, because see, it's like that. So what I'm gonna do here is use my 6" 3/8 drive wobble extension. The wobble extension is the one that you can put up there, and instead of being straight like that, it lets the socket wobble. So we go in there like this and get that off. Now, next, guys, get my little light here. In the back, right above over this hill right here, you're gonna see, you can see right there, you can see one 12mm bolt, two 12mm bolts. So, say it again, Sylvia.
No.
Say it again. Sylvia watches too much Sesame Street. So what we're gonna do is use our deep 12mm 3/8 drive socket, our big bill, and you gotta be careful because see, the big bill is kind of like right up against that thing. So when I loosen it up, you gotta loosen up just enough to take it off and get your hand and get out there and take that bolt out. So let's get both of those bolts out, and we'll be right back. All right, guys, we got those two bolts out. The next thing we're gonna do, we got 5 bolts right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 bolts. That's what Sylvia did. She don't want to say. All right, we got 5 bolts, and on the end of the intake, we got 2 nuts right there. 1 and 2. So I'm definitely gonna use my impact gun again. My cordless impact with a 12mm deep 1/4" drive socket. And go ahead and take all those out. Now be careful, guys, because notice these 3, notice how lower they are compared to these 2. So these bolts are going to be shorter than these 2 right here. So these 3 are going to be short, this one's going to be tall. All right, so let's get them all out and we'll be right back. All right, guys, the next thing I want you guys to get is get you a stud remover. This one's a 5/16, but you're going to use an 8mm. And what you're going to do is take this stud remover, and these things are great because it saves the threads without you damaging them. You put it over the stud, and then as you tighten, as you're loosening, it's grabbing on to that stud and taking that stud right out of there. just like that. All right, we got one. Now, what we're doing, you know, I did forget one thing, guys. Come to the front of the vehicle. All right, guys, because we got 3 bolts holding this on. So what I need to do here is we got a bolt right down. Oh, here's the light. Right down in there.
Oh, okay.
All right, we got another bolt right down in there. But to get to that, there's this bracket going across here. And what we got here is on the front timing cover, there's a 10mm bolt right here. What we're going to do is take that out. So I got it's sitting right here in front of me.
You can see it.
Oh, you can see
no
it?
worries.
All right, so let's get that using a 10mm deep 3/8 drive with my big bill. Oops. Get this 10mm bolt out, which is going to give you just enough room to swing this bracket up. And let's get a 12mm deep 3/8 drive socket. We'll be right back. All right, guys, got my 12mm deep 3/8 drive. I'm gonna pick this, go up under this bracket, and go back to that 12mm bolt. You know, guys, let me get a short extension on this. Be right back, guys. All right, guys, I got my 1-inch 3/8 drive extension. Go up under this harness. Get to the bolt. Okay, let's get that bolt. Get this bolt off, and we'll be right back. All right, guys, we got that off. Now let's go over here and remove our last stud. Get this stud up, and we'll be right back. All right, guys, we got our stud. Let's put this up to the side. And what you're gonna do is this half of the intake, you're gonna slide it this way towards the back of the engine and pick it up at the same time. And it's gonna come right out of there. Let's get all this out of the way. Okay, guys, check that out. All right, let's go put this to the party line, and we'll be right back. All right, guys. Now, at this point now, if you're doing spark plugs and wires, you're done, because that's all you got. Now you got your spark plugs, your wires, and get your spark plugs done. You're good to go. But we got to go a lot further than that. So let's get right to it. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our throttle body. We're going to remove our throttle body and lean it to the side. Leave all our hoses connected and everything. All right. The first thing we'll do, your TPS sensor, connect it right here. We're just going to a tab on the other side, the little spring, push it in, unplug it. Even though we lean it to the side and it's going to stay in there, what you got is 4 bolts, and we just want to make sure we don't damage that. There's a bolt, there's actually a nut right down in here. Actually, here's one bolt right here. Then here's a nut over here. Then there's a nut down in there. Not going to be able to see it too much. And then a bolt on the other side. So it's 4 all together. So what I'm going to be using is my 12mm deep socket 3/8 drive with my 1-inch 3/8 drive extension, wobble extension. Let's reach down in there. And get that off. I'm going to show you what I mean here. If I don't drop it. Oh, it's in there. And there's a washer up here. I'm trying to get this washer off as well. Okay. I got a lock washer. And here's the 12mm nut. Alright, again, there's 4. Let's get those off. And up on the top is going to be bolts. A bolt right here and then a bolt diagonal right across from it. Alright, let's get those off and we'll be right back. Alright guys, we got the bolts out, and just for your information guys, this bolt up here, then we got one diagonal, this one is shorter. So the one down there is going to be shorter. Let's put that to the side. And next thing you do, get your needle nose pliers, and this hose right here, that's just going over to the PCV valve. You want to squeeze, take your needle nose pliers, squeeze the clamp together, bring that back, twist that. Now guys, if you have a hard time twisting this like this and you don't want to break it, what you want to do is make sure you go to Harbor Freight and get you a pair of hose pliers. You see how it's made like that? So that way the hose pliers will grab around. See how it breaks it loose? So, because this is plastic and you don't want to break that. Brings it right off, swing that to the side. Next thing you do, your throttle body is going to go straight forward, and then you're going to swing it to the side so we can disconnect our cruise control cable and our accelerator cable. So pull it out, twist it to the side. Try to get you there you go. Good look. Twist the throttle like that, and the cable. Matter of fact, let's go to the other side. Let's see that better. I'll try to twist it better. Well, one of them already came out. But that's what you can do is twist the cable till it lines up with a slot on the top and just take it right out. Bring that to the side, and that's going to hang out and stay in the car. All right, we'll be right back. All right, guys, next thing you're going to do is get you a shallow 10mm socket 3/8 drive with that same 1-inch wobble 3/8 wobble extension. And what we're going to do is remove the cable, the cruise control cable and the accelerator cable. We're going to remove them, instead of removing them separately, we're going to remove with the bracket as well. And we got two 10mm bolts inside there, and then we got two right back here. So what we're going to do is go in there with our 10mm, take off this one, and for these two you're going to have to remove the extension and get those two. Alright, let's get that done. We'll be right back. Alright guys, the next thing we got 3 bolts holding this rear plenum in here. You got one, you can see the back of the head of the bolt, the end of it. 2 right there. And number 3 is going to be right back here. There's no bolt back there. And I know why too. You guys, remember the customer said he took the whole thing off to do the spark plugs and all? Yeah, he didn't put that bolt back. So we're going to have to find us a bolt to go back in there. Alright, anyway, let's get this done. What we're going to have is a 3/8 drive ratchet with a 12mm shallow socket, and you want to reach over like this and get to those bolts. And it might be a good idea, guys, to get a shorter ratchet and give you more of a swing. And then we're going to go over here, and the same thing goes as for this one. And you can see I'm using my hand, my left hand, as a locator for it. And once I get it,
So those bolts are backwards?
yeah, they're going in through that way. Okay, got that loose. All right, guys, let's get those 2 bolts out. We'll be right back. Alright guys, we got that out. The thing is loose, ready to go. But we got our vacuum hose here going to our brake booster. So we're going to get our needle nose pliers. Squeeze that clamp. Bring it out of the way. Take the hose and try to pick that up off of there. Dang it, man, that thing is up there. There we go. Take out intake out, and let's put this. Matter of fact, while we got it out here, these are the 2 bolts that we took out. No, it ain't. This is the one that was missing. And actually, oh yeah, I got that one and this one over here. Let's put these in here and put this on the party line, and we'll be right back. Alright guys, the next thing we're going to do, we're going to take this air cleaner right here, the filter part, and we're going to swing this over to the side. And it's held in by two little clips right here. These clips have little plastic Phillips screws in there. And what you want to do is take the screwdriver. You don't want to push pressure on it. You just want to let it come up by itself enough where you can grab it and pop it right out. Alright, let's get the other one out and we'll be right back. Alright guys, we want to pull that out of the way. And before we continue on, let's take our clips and we want to put them right back in here so we don't lose them. And then what we're going to do, we're going to take some mechanics wire. You got this brace bar going across here. Take your mechanics wire, wrap it, bring this duct over to the side as much as you can. Put it through the hole. And what you're going to do is you're going to tie that right out of the way. Alright, let's do that and we'll be right back. Alright guys, the next thing we're going to do is remove our expansion tank. Your expansion tank is held on by two 10mm bolts. Mosquito, dang it. We got one bolt right here and one on the other side. And guys, I'm using a 10mm deep 3/8 drive socket. Definitely the Earthquake XT cordless ratchet. This thing is great. Call it the Big Bill. Alright, and we got one right here. And what you're going to do is take your upper radiator hose, pull it out of the bracket, pull it to the side, let it hang down. Because what you're going to do is take this bolt off right here. Put the bolt back in there. It goes over to the top of the radiator to right here. Pull that off. Get the other bolt out. And take your expansion tank and put it right on the party line. And put your bolts back where you took them out at. Alright, we'll be right back. Alright guys, next thing we do, we're going to remove our upper radiator hose. You're going to get your long needle nose pliers. And you have a clamp right there. Get that needle nose pliers and squeeze that together. Bring your clamp way back. Take the hose, twist it, pull it off. Then it comes up here to the top of the radiator. So you're going to do the same thing. Squeeze the clamp, pull it back. Be careful with that. Take that hose off and put it to the party line. We'll be right back. Alright guys, the next thing we're going to do is remove our cooling fan assembly. The first thing we do, you got a big connector over here. So what you got here, can you see in here? We got a tab right on the end of this plug that has to be pushed into the connector and then unplug it. So that's the tab right there. Just push it down and unplug it. Move that to the side. The next thing you want to do is get your Big Bill already set up with the 10mm deep 3/8 drive socket, and you're gonna have 3 bolts. You're gonna have one. See that?
Yeah.
2. And then over here, number 3. And you can use a shallow if you want, or like you see the dipstick is in the way. Just pick the dipstick up. Get that bolt. Let's get all 3 of them out of there. We'll be right back. Alright guys, now on there's no screws on the bottom of the radiator. They're just set into slots. So I'm about to show you. So now what you do is just lean your radiator assembly back. At the same time, you're going to be picking it up. And be careful. The reason why I say lean it back is because you don't want, you got the neck of the radiator right here and you got the end of the tab right here. So you want to make sure that you do clear all that. Probably can get this thing up out of here. You know what? There's a thing that's in the way that we should just get that bracket out of the way and stop playing around. let's go back down, guys. We got this little bracket right here that's stopping us from actually getting this thing out of here. Let me see what I can got. What we got holding this bracket on. It looks like I feel 10 millimeter, 12 millimeter bolts. I feel one. I would say it got to be two, but let's get us a 12 millimeter ratchet, a socket, 12 millimeter socket with a ratchet. We'll be right back. Alright guys, the best way to get to that bracket, I was thinking, looking at it, is we're going to have to remove this lower radiator hose. We don't have to remove the whole hose. That's all we have to do is just remove this and swing it over to the side. So I got my needle, my long needle nose. We're going to go over here, hook onto the clamp. Dang it. Probably better for just using vice grips, guys.
Well, hose clamp tool.
Yeah, I know. A whole clamp tool would be better. Alright, so let's get this back. And get this hose off. And we're going to swing it over here and tuck it to the side. Alright, we'll be right back. Alright, got this light is crummy. Yeah. Alright, guys, down here there is two 12 millimeter bolts. One right there. And wait a minute. One right there.
It's okay.
Okay. One right there. And then one right on the other side where my finger is. So what we're gonna do here, this Harbor Freight, man, these lights are all right, but we're gonna use it. What we're gonna do is uses a 12 millimeter shallow socket 3/8 drive with a regular 3/8 drive ratchet, and I'm gonna come from the angle right here along the side. Matter of fact, let me get this hooked on first, and let's see if I can. You can see the angle I'm at. That's how we're gonna get those bolts out, guys. Okay. Let's get those. Let's see. There's one. Let me see if I can reach over here and get the other one to show you guys and make sure it is a 12 millimeter. Yep, two 12 millimeter bolts. All right, let's get those bolts out and we'll be right back. All right, guys, I got both bolts out. Here's our bracket. And I noticed, guys, if you look right down there, I'm gonna cut this on for a little quick. Notice, look at the space between, here's the coil bracket and the cylinder head. You see that little space between there? That's where this bracket goes at. So now we got that out of the way. Let's put these bolts to the side. Now let's see, give us enough room to swing and get our fan assembly right out of there. Look at that. Yeah, buddy. Alright guys, let's put this to the side and we'll in the party line and we'll be right back. Alright guys, the next thing we're going to do is remove our ignition coil wires and the ignition coil as one whole assembly. Now, if you remember in the other part when we checked this car out, you can see where I marked these wires. I put dots in there. 1, 2, and 3 on this side. So what we're going to do is make sure, go over that. Make sure they're good. And then we're going to go over here to the other side. And you know, I'm thinking of, yeah, because since these wires are longer, we know they go over here. We're going to mark these 1, 2, and 3. Alright, next we're going to do, we're going to remove all the coil wires. What you do is just twist it back and forth and pull them right out. One more time, push it back and forth. Dang it. And pull it right out. Alright, let's get all 6 of them out and we'll be right back. Alright guys, we got all those out. Got the wires. Let's get them out of their looms right here. Just pop them out. This one you can leave in. And these are ready to go. Now your whole coil pack assembly is held on by 4 bolts. 2 12 millimeter bolts. We took one out over here on the side. Then we got one right there. And then right up under here, you're gonna have two 10mm bolts. Where's my mirror? Alright, if you look, you can see a 10mm bolt way down there. And then we go down here, and that one's like, can you see that one?
Oh yeah, yeah. That's good.
That one right there. So to get those bolts, guys, what you're gonna need is grab your big bill. Let's get the 10mm bolts first. You want to use your finger as a locator, and once you get down there. And I'm using a 10mm deep, and I just dropped that bolt. Dang it, right inside the antifreeze pan. Whoa, if you want to go back, antifreeze. Here's one. Reach over here and get your second one. And then you're going to go up here to your... Oh, wait, I forgot about this. Guys, very important. You see this ground wire? Disconnect that ground wire, but make sure we put that back. That's held on by a 10mm bolt. Swing that ground wire to the side, put the bolt back in there, and guys, definitely remember that ground wire. All right. And also another thing, if I didn't mention it, when we took off this accelerator cable assembly and all, back here there's another ground wire that goes right up under it, just like this. That's another ground wire. These are body grounds. Very, very important. Body grounds is super important. All right, so let's get those other bolts out, and we'll be right back. All right, guys, we got the coil assembly disconnected. Now, the next thing you want to do, you got 3 connectors here going to each coil. You don't have to disconnect it from there. You see this big plug right here? You're going to pull the rubber boot back. And then what you're going to see is a connector up under there. And you see that tab right there? Squeeze that tab down to the connector and unplug it. Dang it! There. Alright. Now that we got that disconnected, take our whole assembly, everything, wires and all, and put it to the party line. We'll be right back. Alright guys, the next thing we can do, we gotta get this intake. This vehicle sucks. The next thing we gotta do is get the intake manifold up along with the fuel injection well. But before we do that, the power steering pump has a bracket in front of here that's gonna be in front of our way. And we gotta remove the power steering pump anyway. But before we remove the power steering pump, we gotta take the belt off. Before we take the belt off, to make this easier, we gotta remove this bracket right here, this engine bracket. Now, the customer took this off before. He's missing a nut, so I want you guys to take notice that whenever you're doing somebody's car, you make sure you point out everything that's missing so it don't come back on you. All right, so instead of two 17mm nuts, we only got one right there. So we got a 17mm nut and we got 2 17mm bolts. Now, before you do that, what you want to take a block of wood, set it up on your hydraulic jack, set it up under the oil pan, and pick it up in just enough, just till it holds a little pressure, a little tension on it. And then, did I call this the wrong side? Yeah, 17. 17mm deep, 1/2-inch drive socket, and I'm using a 1.5-inch extension. And I'm going to be using my air gun, Earthquake. Let this thing open here. Okay, guys. And let's get those 3 out. And we'll be right back. Alright, guys, we got all of them out. Take the bracket up. And that gives us a lot of room in the front of the engine. And while we got this up, we're going to jack this engine up a little bit. give us more room in the front of the engine. All right, let's put this in the party line and we'll be right back. All right, guys, the next thing we're going to do is take our belt off. I'm at the bottom of the vehicle. You're looking at it from the top. Here's our belt tensioner right here. Now, right there, there's an opening for a 3/8 drive ratchet. And you want to put set the ratchet like you're tightening up a bolt. Dang it! There we go. All right, and when you tighten it up, you see how the tensioner goes in? Bring the tensioner in. It's only going to go in just a little bit. Take off the belt and release. Take your ratchet out of there, take the belt off, and put the belt in the party line. We'll be right back. All right, guys, I was taking the belt off, but no, you can't take the belt off. You have to remove, I know you guys are going to be like, you got to be kidding me. You have to remove the tensioner to get that belt off. And your tensioner is held on by two 12mm bolts. One you can see right here from the top. One right there. And the other one, if you put your hand around here, the other one's going to be right about in this location right here. So what I'm going to use is a 12mm shallow socket with my 1-inch wobble 3/8 drive extension. And to make this easier, I'm going to use my big bill ratchet. So in fact, let's go over here to the other one first, since that one's the hardest to get to. And of course, you know what? That's in the way. It's going to hit the AC lines, guys. So what I'm going to do here is get my regular 3/8 drive ratchet on the swivel head. And that gives me just enough room to get that bolt out. Alright, let's remove both bolts. And we'll be, can you believe this, guys? To do the belt, this is what you gotta do. Let's remove both bolts and we'll be right back. Alright, guys, we got both the bolts out. There's our tensioner right there. Try to get this bolt hooked from there. And of course you see that if this thing don't slide down, we're going to be removing, yeah, it does. Let's get this top bolt out. Let's slide this down there from the bottom. Alright, let's come out here and get it out. Put this to the party line. How's this belt? It's not that bad. Gates. Okay, cool. All right, let's put this to the party line. And guys, here's our. Here's Harley.
Nap time.
All right, guys, look at our party line, guys. This is what I'm talking about. Look at all the stuff we took off so far, and you can imagine all this stuff in one big pile. Now, being that that's in a party line. When I go to put this back together, I just start from here. The bolts are with it. Either the bolts are with the parts, or it's still into the motor where we gotta take off. This is great. This is what I call staying organized. All right, we'll be right back. All right, guys. The next thing we do is let's get our power steering pump out of the way. Your power steering pump is held on by 3 bolts. 2 bolts is going through the pulley. 14mm bolts. And actually, if you look right here on the side, you can see one of them. Right there. So what you're going to do is go through the opening in the pulley, go right onto the bolt, and that's one right there, and the other one's going to be right there, right in that location. Then you got a 10mm bolt right up here. Got this bracket. So you're going to use this 10mm right here, and I'm using a 10mm deep. Let's get our pawl driver. Let's take off this one first. Then we got our 2 14s on the side. Let's get those out and we'll be right back. Alright guys, we got both bolts out. Both bolts are the same length. Take our power steering pump, pull it to the side, and you got a power steering pressure switch over here that you got to disconnect, and that just unplugs right from the back. Take your power steering pump, pull it all the way to the side, and guys, I did tell the customer about this. This hose right here is leaking. I told them they got to replace that hose, so they need to replace that hose. We're gonna swing this over to the side, and then we're gonna get some mechanics wire and tie it up out of our way. All right, we'll be right back. All right, guys, for this next step, you're gonna need your 10mm deep 3/8 drive socket with your big bill ratchet, and we're gonna remove the top half of the timing cover, and it's held on by a series of 10mm bolts all the way around. It's actually gonna stop right there. So, and this one we took out before, I just put it back into place. And then especially you're gonna have one right over here. So I'm gonna go over them real quick for you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. All right, let's get all those 8 out and we'll be right back. All right guys, all the bolts except for 2 are out. All bolts are the same length except for these 2 right here in the center. This one is a sleeve with a bracket on it that holds the timing cover on, and this one's a regular bolt. It's just that it's way longer than the rest of them. Okay, we're gonna pop our cover out and pick it up, and let's put this on the party line. We'll be right back. All right guys, dang it, looks like you hit a different button. All right. All right, the next thing we do, guys, you got this idler pulley right here. We got to take this idler. Hey, that thing, it's like it's hitting up against the cover. Huh. We got to take this idler pulley out, because we got to take this bracket out, because if you notice, look at the timing belt, how it goes on each side of this bracket. So we got a 17mm shallow socket 3/8 drive, well, 3/8 drive ratchet, and go ahead and take that bolt out and get that pulley out of there. All right, let's get that done and we'll be right back. All right guys, we are down here at the bottom of the engine now. Remember, we took out the bolt for the harmonic balancer, so now we just wiggle that and pull at the same time. Take that right off. All right, and when you're up under here, you're going to see 3 10mm bolts. 1, 2, and 3. We're going to get those out. So you're going to grab your impact driver with your 1/4" drive adapter already in it, and already in it is our 10mm deep 1/4" drive. And you're going to go ahead and get those 3 bolts out of there. Let's get those 3 bolts and we'll be right back. All right guys, I got 2 of the bolts out. I got that one already out, but it's still stuck in there. You're going to take your cover, there it is, pull it and bring it down. Done. All right, let's set this stuff to the party line and we'll be right back. Yep. All right guys, we got the cover off, and for reference, we got 2 short bolts and 1 long bolt. The 2 short bolts go in the end and the long bolt goes in the middle. But look at that cover, guys. This thing was making some noise. Look how the harmonic balancer rubbed out of the cover. Look in the back of this thing. So this thing was hitting right up against it. And this actually looks like a new harmonic balancer. Maybe something happened to the old one and it was rubbing in there and they replaced it, because this does look like it was changed at one time. But that's definitely something else you gotta let the customer know. All right, we'll be right back. All right guys, what we're gonna do now is, here's our timing belt tensioner right here. It's held on by 2 12mm bolts. So what we're gonna use is our same impact 1/4" drive, but this time we're going to be using a 1/4" drive 12mm deep socket. Let's go in there. Them things are tight. Let's change over to the ratchet. Be right back. Alright guys, I'm using the 12mm deep 3/8 drive socket with a 6" 3/8 drive extension and my 3/8 drive ratchet. We'll put these bolts on. Put them. You didn't have to put them. Let's take. Somebody was looking to strip them threads out because those things is not supposed to be that tight. But let's go ahead and get it. Heck no, it wasn't supposed to be this tight. And guys, you know this wasn't supposed to be. You know I was supposed to use this right here and take them right off. All right, let's get them out. And the tensions are going to drop right out of there. Put this to the party line and we'll be right back. All right, guys, the next thing we're going to do is take up our intake. As a matter of fact, we're going to take up the intake and this is what we're going to call it a day after that. The first thing we're going to do is take up our fuel rail. Get that out of the way. You got our fuel rail going all around here. These injectors over here you can leave connected because they go to a connector over here. And those three are already separate, so we don't have to worry about those. But these three over here, we have to disconnect. And what you want to do is take a flat screwdriver, or I'm using my needle nose, and you have a tab right there. You're going to have to push that tab in firmly up against the connector just like that. With your other hand, from the bottom of the connector, pick it up. Just like that. Alright, let's get another one. And the last one. Okay, let's get this disconnected and we'll be right back. Alright guys, the next thing we could do, your harness is still connected by these two little tabs right here. Now if you want, you can use, now you don't, yeah, you might find, you know what, we can do it that way because we got to take it up anyway. Guys, like, what did he talk about? Next guys.
Wait, what happened?
Watch. Get your impact with a 12mm deep 1/4" drive socket with your 1/4" drive adapter on it. Your fuel rail is held on by 4 12mm bolts, and as you can see, if I take up a bolt here, it takes up with the harness and everything, so I don't have to disconnect it from that little clip. So let's get all 4 of those bolts out and we'll be right back. Alright guys, we got the 4 bolts out. Put them to the side. Take your wiring harness, swing that over to the side. You're not going to need that for a while, for a long while. Now your injector harness, everything, I mean your fuel injector, fuel rail, everything will pop right up. Now it's not going to come up easy because the injectors are pushed down into the intake. So you're going to have to like pry it a little bit. See, I just picked it up just like that. Try to, and don't snatch it up guys, just very easy. Pop them up just like that. Move your hose out of the way, move this out of the way, pick the whole thing up. And what we're going to do is swing the whole thing over here to the side. And what I'm going to do is move this duct right here we put in there, put it up under, and just so this don't mess up getting gas on the air filter, we're going to take that off. We're going to put it over to the side, put this back, and tie it up. Alright, we'll be right back. Alright guys, the next thing you do, still keep your impact driver with your same 12mm deep socket 1/4" drive. And now to remove the intake, you're going to have 4 bolts and 4 nuts. If you take a look, get this over to the side and all. You got in the center, you got 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts, and on the outer edges, you're going to see 4 nuts. So we're going to go ahead, take them off. And what I want you to do is make sure when you take them off, the nuts, make sure you got that lock washer in place as well. Alright, so let's get all of them off and we'll be right back. Alright guys, we got all the bolts out. Take out intake, pick it up. Man, Man, look at that. Look at those. Wow, man, this thing melted like crazy. What the heck is that down there? What the heck happened right there? Holy cow, this thing really overheated. I don't know, what the heck am I looking at? What the hell is that? You know, guys, I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna take this knock sensor up, and I want to look at that wiring behind there, cause something don't look too kosher here. So,
I thought the knock sensor were replaced.
Yeah, I thought he said too. There's no way that would, cause he said I gotta take those sensors back.
Maybe he bought them but didn't replace them.
Oh yeah, he thought about doing it. He said nope. So dang it, man! Look at this. That thing. Let's take a look at that one. We'll be right back, guys. All right, got that bolt out. Man.
So they're both melted?
Heck yeah. You know, I don't know if it's caused by overheating. I got a feeling this was here before overheating occurred. Let's put these bolts back in here.
Oh, it's missing pieces, right?
Oh, let me get this bolt back in here for a minute first. No, it just opened up.
Oh.
Just. Psh. Oops. Dang it. Let me get a magnet. Yeah. Alright, guys, we'll be right back. Alright, guys, let's get our knock sensor harness out of here. We got two plugs over here, and the same thing. They got a little spring action on each side, and notice there's different colors. So I'm going to push the spring in and unplug it. There it is right there. And then I'm going to do the same thing to the black connector. And pull that and unplug it. Then down there, you're going to see we got a 10mm bolt. I'm using my 10mm deep, 1/4" drive extension with 1/4" drive ratchet. And right there, I'm going to take that 10mm bolt out. And that's going to take out the whole harness with the both knock sensors as it sets in. Let's put this 10mm bolt back in there, set this to the party line, and we'll be right back. Ready. Alright, guys, next we're going to do, we got a coolant sensor right here. Up under this plug, there's a tab. You're going to push the tab up and then unplug it. Turn it around. That tab right there. I'm going to squeeze it into the connector and unplug it. Guys, let me change my gloves. And what I'm going to do next is we got a little harness going right here. And instead of trying to pull this out and all that, what we're going to do is take our 10mm deep 3/8 drive with our big bill ratchet. We got a 10mm bolt right here. We're going to take that one off. And instead of pulling it out right here, there's a 10mm bolt up under here going this way. Dang it. Okay, got that. And that's gonna disconnect it from there. Alright, we'll be right back. Alright guys, we got that disconnected. You know what we're gonna do? Let's disconnect this sensor right here. It's going to a cam sensor, looks like. Oh no, the wiring harness going underneath. Let's pull that, push that spring in right there. And get that unplugged. Then, on the other side of this bracket, see we got one 10mm bolt out. On the other side, we're trying to feel around right there. For the other 10mm, we're going to get that off, and then as you can see, this bracket's going to come out of here, and then we're going to do is put them bolts back in there. Alright, we'll be right back. Alright guys, the next thing we're going to do is we got to clamp right here on this little hose. I got my pair of vice grips. Go in there and squeeze that clamp together. Bring that back. Twist the hose back and forth. And unplug it. Now, what you got, they got a bigger hose up under it. And that one's going to be kind of difficult to see, guys. But we got a clamp here. Same kind of clamp. Bring that clamp back whenever it decides it wants to come back. You guys think I'm happy all the time. That's bull. Sometimes these keys will get you. Alright. You can see the clamp right there better. Alright, let's back that up. Okay. Then we're going to try to twist that hose and get that turned off. See if I can use the vice grips. Okay, that ain't gonna work, so let's get us a flat screwdriver. Be right back. Alright guys, we got a screwdriver right here, and we're gonna try to break that seal around that hose. Man, you gotta be kidding me. This thing been up there since 2006. Alright, let's try something different. I'm gonna try my hose pliers. Try to twist it. Okay, it's moving. What the heck then? Finally. Alright, got that off. Alright guys, we'll be right back. Alright guys, next thing you're going to do is get you a 12mm deep, 1/2 inch 3/8 drive socket with a 3/8 drive, your big bill ratchet. This sucks, the job sucks. Alright, now you're going to have 4 nuts holding on this whole water outlet, this water pipe assembly. Okay, you got one right here, one right there on the other side, kind of corroded and all, right up under there. And on the other side, you're going to have, you can see the one right there.
Where your finger is?
Yeah.
Oh, there. Okay.
And then there's one further down. So, let's get the one further down first and show you where that's at. That is right... Let me get this. Get all this out of the way. Give me a minute, guys. Guys, I'm telling you, this job is a nightmare. Make sure I'm on the right bolt. And I don't think I am, actually. There it is. Right where you see my ratchet at, guys, that's where that nut is at the bottom. You gotta reach down here and try to get that off. And there it is. And there is, you gotta reach down here, there is a lock washer as well. Dang it. Try to grab this washer without dropping it. Worst case scenario, you drop it, you get a new one. Because this one ain't gonna come off so easy. Okay, got it. Lock washer. Alright, let's get 4 of those nuts off with the lock washers and we'll be right back. Alright guys, now what you're going to have to do is get a pry bar. I'm going to use my needle nose. And you got to really try to pry between both sides and try to pick this thing up because it's going to go on an O-ring. They should have made just regular bolts out of this thing. I don't know what the heck was their problem doing this. Alright. Got that down to the side. Done. See how it comes off the studs right there? Why they do this? I have no idea. This is dumb as anything. You got to take that off because as you can see, it goes right to the back of the cylinder heads. Alright. Let's move on. We'll be right back.
Alright, so this is the end of part 1 on this 2006 Kia Sportage. And make sure you stay tuned for part 2 when we continue taking it apart. In the meantime, if you guys have any comments or questions, you can post it below in the comment section. Or you can email Timmy at tim@astralautorepairs.com. Hope you paid attention. If not, watch it again. This is Sylvia from Astral Auto Repairs. If we can't repair it, nobody can. See you next time.